Why do I believe in UFOs? The government has a plethora of information.
Hundreds of thousands of UFO reports.
You're a skeptic until your first sighting.
I'm skeptical of that. No, you're not. You're cynical of that. We educate the public.
Good afternoon and welcome to Minnesota Mufon, coming to you from the New Brighton Community Center in New Brighton, Minnesota. My name is Tom Maher. I'm the Minnesota Mufon State Director. I want to thank you all for being here today.
The Mutual UFO Network investigates UFO sightings.
Formed in 1969 for the scientific investigation of UFOs.
Group of volunteers who investigate UFO sightings and reports.
Do the best that we can to answer the questions that are out there about what people are seeing.
What do we know after 50 years? We know UFOs are real. We are not alone in the universe. According to the data we collect, the universe is teeming with life, and tremendous breakthroughs will result if we allow our scientists and engineers to do the work without the fear of ridicule and breakthrough science technology.
The Minnesota Mufon community, I would describe it as very diverse. You get a really good cross-section of our society here. You get the very intellectuals, get the kind of people who are a little more on the spiritual side. You get people that are very strong believers. You get people who are more skeptical, even leaning toward the cynical.
We all have a wonderment about what else is out there. Whether it's alien life, whether it's multi-dimensional life. Most of us have seen something that we've at least been curious about.
MUFON has 3 goals. Our first goal is to investigate UFO sightings and collect data in the MUFON database. Our second goal is to promote research on UFOs to discover the true nature of the phenomenon. And our third goal is to educate the public on UFO phenomenon and its potential impact on society.
I think one of the misconceptions is that we're all a bunch of crazy people.
Group of tinfoil hat wearers.
They're all a bunch of believers, perhaps. That's not the case.
I'm a skeptic. A skeptic is someone who will look at both sides, who will try to determine the truth. Is this right or is this wrong?
I'm also a skeptic. I need proof. I don't know that I'll ever find it, but it's the reason why I became an investigator.
And we all do our best to root out the facts about UFOs.
So this is MUFON's global rankings. You can see the United States is number 1 with 458 sightings in the past month. Canada had 42. United Kingdom had 28, and then it drops down there. Australia, France had 4, Iran, South Africa 3.
I had my first sighting on Labor Day weekend of 1989.
I saw something once. It looked like a triangle, and it was above the clouds. It was very big. I was a child, and I saw it disappear into a dot straight up into the sky at an incredible speed.
And I looked overhead, almost straight overhead, and saw a round black object with fuzzy edges, and it was moving along and it dematerialized. That is, it seemed to dissolve into nothing in about 3 seconds.
I don't think that UFO sightings are to be feared. I think if they were, we would have had reason to be afraid a long time ago. I think they just want to study us, just like we do animals.
I think that sightings are something to be celebrated. This is a possible chance to gain high technology, to gain more understanding of how we can get along with our fellow beings. It has a potential for a lot of positive good.
And if you think about it, just the United States has 458 sightings in a month. How many of you have heard 458 sighting reports on the news? Anyone? This is something that's big that's happening around the world and it's not being covered. So I just want to kind of keep reinforcing that idea.
The government knows a lot more than it's telling us, and half of what they're telling us is lies.
My thought is the government probably doesn't even know what the government has.
There would be mass hysteria if a lot of stuff came out.
A lot of the sightings come about near military bases. Whether those are alien or our technology, I don't know, but certainly the government would have an idea.
Their motivation is probably began with the idea of harvesting technology. So you take measures to protect this secret, and I think they've done a very effective job in doing so.
We got a lot of stuff in What's Up in Minnesota. I got updates on 6 cases and 11 brand new cases, so we're going to crank through all of them and try to keep us somewhat on schedule.
One question I was continually getting from people that were attending was, what's happening here in Minnesota? And so I kind of took it upon myself and I said, okay, I'm going to talk every month about every case that's been submitted to Minnesota since the last time.
The witness and his friend were walking in a cornfield at night and a loud noise chased them away. So the loud noise they described as being very much a grinding sound. They went back the next evening and they were confronted by an entity about the size of an 11-year-old child, and they both ran away. They described it as having skin-tight clothing on. They said it had a large head. They said it turned around and they said it had huge eyes. And they just kind of did a staring match for a few seconds, and then they said it turned around and bailed off in the other direction. They said it leaped a pretty large ditch, and it was gone, and they said they turned the other way and they hightailed it too, and they're out of there. I think outcast groups need a voice, and it's important that their voice is heard, and I think lifelong learning is a good thing in MUFON. There's always something to learn here.
It's important to me because it is gathering information about this phenomenon.
It shares ideas and shares information.
It's nice to be in a place where people don't look at you funny when you talk about strange things.
It's investigating what I think is the most important, the most interesting phenomena of all.
Well, that's our meeting for today. Thank you all very much for coming. We're glad to have you. Thanks to you for joining Minnesota MUFON. Please keep your eyes on the skies and have a fantastic night. Thank you.